Hey there, out camping, 20 degrees out. I've had this Propex heater about 2 winters now. A number of people have asked me how I like it, and it's a thumbs up. I'll tell you, it's 2 thumbs ups. This trailer is not insulated. The roof is insulated. It has that pink foam, maybe that much, cut 2 inches or so. The walls are not insulated. The pass-through to the galley will let cold air in, but you can close that off. And it has very little airflow unless you start ventilating, which I can ventilate very easily. So I'm in here, I'm snug and comfortable. The thermostat, I had it set for 65. I turned it off now, and it'll bring it to 65, then it will shut off, and it will go down to about 57 or 52, I forget, I think maybe 57. Then it will click on again and it'll go up. So it keeps it in that temperature range, you know, and I can raise that range by just turning the dials on the heater controls. But the main concern with this heater is, of course, you know, how much propane is it going to burn? Like, am I going to run out of propane in the middle of the night? That's always a concern for me. You know, I want to make sure. I don't have a lot of experience with it. So I came up with a way to tell that I'm going to make it through a trip or a night or whatever. Now, I was so paranoid on this trip, I brought a 5-pound propane tank with me, a small one. It's more than half the size of the tank on the 11-pound tank on the trailer. But I had that as a backup in case I ran out of propane. Now, propane as a survival strategy for these trips that I'm doing right now is not critical. I have a sleeping bag. It's good for 20 below zero, and it's very toasty warm. But what it is critical for, the heat, is when you're lounging around the trailer like this. You know, it's a really nice environment, and I really enjoy it. I think it's great. You know, wood ceiling, wood wall. So I really like that. And it's kind of nice just to be able to lounge around here very comfortably. The heater itself is the Propex HS2000, 6,500 BTUs, which is more than enough to heat this space. I've had it up to almost 90 degrees in here and -5 degrees outside. In that case, the heater will run longer, and it will shut off for less time. Now, I did it tonight. It's 20 degrees out, and I sat here with a stopwatch, a timer, and I found that the burner would kick on. It would run for 5 minutes. Then it would turn off for 20 minutes. And it repeated that cycle consistently for several cycles. So that's good enough for me. And that allowed me to calculate how much propane I'm going to use. A lot of people have alerted me, you know, which I already knew, that there are these diesel heaters around. These they run on diesel fuel. It's a lot like the Propex. It's you know, it's a thermostat controlled high efficiency heater. People have mentioned to me these things sell for $200. The Propex is about $1,000. It runs on propane. So the reasons I didn't go for the Chinese diesel heaters is I already have propane here. I don't want to introduce a liquid fuel here. It just doesn't make sense. Other kinds of heaters, I just can't fit in here. So you know, the Propex is like that big, and it's very small. You can tuck it away in a small compartment. Great for a van, great for an RV. You can tuck it anywhere, and it runs cool. A few minutes after you turn it off, you can touch it with your hand, and it's not even hot. It has this airflow to cool it down. The other thing with the diesel heaters from Asia is they use a lot of electricity. They have a glow plug in them. So the blower will kick on, it'll flush the system, then this it'll spray fuel in and ignite it with a glow plug. That glow plug draws about 10 amps. And while that's fine for a big rig truck, you have a couple of batteries there, you're not going to have a problem at night. It's a problem for me. I only have a 120 amp hour battery here, and I have a refrigerator and the heater, and I didn't want to use that much electrical energy. You know, it works good for a lot of people. No complaints. You know, this is my choice. It suits me. You may want to choose something different. You know, $200 solution, it's hard to beat. A lot of people like them. So without further ado, let's go to the video. I have more data on my heater, and I wanted to try and explain the heat consumption in this friggin' wind. The trailer has an 11-pound propane tank. It's pretty small. Most RVs come with a 20-pounder, but this is right over the tongue, and it works out good for me. It doesn't put too much weight on the car. kind of at my limit for tongue weight on the car. So 11 pounds of propane. So let's get in out of the wind. Okay. To try and make sense of the propane consumption of the Propex HS2000, I looked up Propex heater, the HS2000. When the furnace is on, it's not always on, but it burns 2.37 grams of propane a minute. That's when the thing is running. So it has a duty cycle. At 20 degrees, the furnace would kick on for 5 minutes, then it would be off for 20 minutes, and then it would kick on again. So that's 2.4 cycles an hour. And since it was only burning a few minutes, 12 minutes in an hour, I calculated that it used 28.44 grams of propane an hour. And over 9 hours that I was in here, it was 20 degrees outside, and I burned 28.4 grams an hour, which gave me 256 grams in 9 hours. That's how much I burnt. So with an 11-pound tank, the tank holds 4,988 grams of fuel. So dividing the burn rate at 20 degrees Fahrenheit into the amount of grams of fuel I had, I calculate that I would get 19.5 nights of heat at 9 hours a night at temperature of 25 to 20 degrees. So that translates into 175.3 hours of heat. The takeaway here is that the furnace burns 2.37 grams of propane per minute. With that, you should be able to calculate how long you're going to have heat for. Variables, right? It could get colder, windy, you're going in and out, and you're losing heat. So there's a lot of variables here, but you got to start somewhere, and I think this is a good place to start. So when you're using heat in a trailer, most people would be concerned about carbon monoxide. Now this heater is a heat exchange heater, so there should be no carbon monoxide coming in. However, I do have a carbon monoxide detector, and I found this on Amazon. I'll put a link below. But you plug this in, and it starts blinking for about a minute or two, and it's like calibrating itself. And then it, well, from there on it works. So I tested this on the exhaust of my car. I put it near the exhaust pipe, and it went off okay with carbon monoxide. So I like small for a trailer like this, and this is pretty small. It gets mixed reviews, but as I said, I tested it and it worked okay for me. So this thing took several minutes to calibrate, but as you can see, now it's on solid blue, and it's monitoring the carbon monoxide. So something to consider. I mean, there's a million different carbon monoxide detectors, and it's a good idea to have them. It's Thursday night. I'm the only person in this park. It's completely empty except for me. But I set it up pretty cozy in here. I went out to dinner earlier, had a very nice dinner. Place is about a mile away. It's really great. And when I came back, I turned on the heater, and this Propex heater, the grill is still warm here. Oh, that's great. It's about 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And I turned on the heat, and the heat warmed the place up probably like 30 minutes, and it's warm in here. When you warm the place, you have to warm up the walls and stuff. They're still cool. Some places are cooler than others. These cabinets are cool. Inside it's a lot warmer. So it's it just took a little while to heat up, but now it's cycled off, and so I'll probably get pretty good propane usage. It's set for about 65 degrees, and that's pretty warm compared to 20 outside. Out here camping, and I'm rendering a video which is high energy consumption, so I have it hooked up to my Jackery. So once in a while you come across something that's just a nifty little product. And what I've got, and I enjoy, and I wanted to share with you, is these magnetic cables. They're just a USB cable. And what you do is you plug it into your power source, a little connector here with 3 nubs on it, 3 connection points, and you get this little tip. And they give you tips for, they give you a tip for the Apple, for USB-C. They give you a bunch of different tips. And you find the one, this is an Android phone. So here again, here is the little tip. This connects, this has a magnet in it. And this connects, you find the right tip for your phone, you insert that, now it's in. And you've got this 3-way connector here, and 3 contact point connector. And what you do is you just stick these together. And when you do that, it will, if you have the power on, it will start charging the phone. And that's it's great. And this thing swivels and maintains contact within reason. And where this is really great is when I'm cruising along at 70 miles an hour and I realize I didn't connect my phone to my car. And you don't want to be looking down, and you don't want to be all taking your eyes off the road for a second, but by touch you can just take this thing and you can connect it right to your phone and you're back in business. It's just really great. So I have these at home, I have them around. Now I have an Android phone. If somebody else is with me and they have an Apple phone or an iPhone, you can just plug in the right tip to that, and the same cable can be used for both of those. It's a really great convenience. Probably giving it more attention than it deserves, but you find something good, you want to share it.